me and Amber like hung out with their 2 older daughters and watched Dance Moms and like drank hot chocolate, and they put tinsel in our hair, and it was like the best night of tour. Like it was so luxury. Like after being on the road, like it was luxury.
Thank you for tuning in to Successfully Unsigned. We have a special treat for you today. It is the first time that we, as Successfully Unsigned, have interviewed an entire band at once. Hello Darling was gracious enough to come spend some time with us, and they gave us some great insight into what it's like being a band, what it's like starting a band, sharing hotel rooms, the whole touring concept, what it's like touring versus doing local house shows, the whole band dynamic, and really getting into the nitty-gritty of what it's like to go from being a solo artist to doing something with other people. And that also includes what songwriting is like as a band and how different that can be. A few other things they discussed during this interview is how they go about booking gigs, different artists that they've opened up for in the past, along with a few of their recent releases. For instance, they've just recently released a few songs, one being On and On, which they discuss here in this interview, along with a new one called Holy Water. And we get a little bit of insight into their upcoming newest EP, which is in the works. Unfortunately, as we recorded this interview, one of the microphones was having some technical difficulties that we didn't find out about until later. So as you listen, you'll hear the room might come in and out so you can still hear and understand what Riley has to say. If you like what you're hearing in this interview, make sure to follow them at Hello Darling Band on social media and listen to them on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, iTunes, anywhere that you stream and consume music at Hello Darling. Once again, thank you for tuning in to Successfully Unsigned. We hope you enjoyed this interview. Be on the lookout for their live performance, which will come out later this week on YouTube. And as always, follow us at Successfully Unsigned and Unsigned Podcast on TikTok.
Welcome to Successfully Unsigned, the Now News podcast, because I'm now over here all by my lonesome. Today we have very special guests, plural, Hello Darling Band. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
I don't know why I expecting an applause at that moment. Not from y'all. I meant
we're applauding for you.
That's what I'm telling. I feel like I'm on a news show or something.
We're gonna hype you up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Riley, Patrick, Grace, and Amber, and these lovely people were brought to us by friend of the show, Robin. Robin, come on. No, I'm kidding.
Yay!
Camera time for Robin.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for being here today. I'm very excited.
Thanks for having us.
So let's just get into it. Let's start with all of y'all's kind of music history, your journey in music, and you guys can go individually and then maybe kind of converge it into kind of how y'all met and how the band started and everything like that.
Yeah.
Should we want to just go down the line?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to start, Riley?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Start the show.
That was it. No.
I started playing piano when I was younger, and that sort of morphed into taking on a couple other instruments, and eventually landed on drums, and that one just kind of stuck. And I did some high school band stuff, and then moved out here and started studying percussion at Belmont University, and that was where I met most of the band.
Okay.
Patrick and I have a longer history just because one of those high school bands that I mentioned was ours, which was super fun, but that's about it.
Okay. You give off drummer energy in a good way.
Yeah.
Wait, can I ask
Completely unhinged at unexpected moments.
Oh right. Yeah. Can I ask what y'all's high school band was called?
Called Halloway. It was a Hawaiian term, and then we turned it. We misspelled it and got yelled at by a bunch of Hawaiians one time. It was really bad.
I was gonna say it was so we got some cultural appropriation.
Yes, we did. They were 15.
Yeah. Don't cancel.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of when I started playing music. Was when I met Riley, my freshman year of high school, and I had not played music really, messed around on guitar a little bit, and another friend of ours who was in the band kind of got me to start singing and writing a little bit. And it wasn't long after that, and we had our band, and then kind of 3 years go by, and Riley moved out here the year before I did. I did a solo project for a little bit, and then really quickly abandoned that to start playing with Grace and then Riley again, honestly, and then Amber came along, and but yeah, I mean, we've been playing together for almost 10 years now. We've been together for a while, and it's really awesome for me to have that, you know, that shared bond where, you know, there's that history, but also this kind of new inspiration with Grace and Amber where it just applies to the music in such a cool way. So, yeah.
So did you move down here for school or like to chill with your bestie?
Yeah, I was, no, so I was, I mean, we weren't really like talking a whole bunch before I moved here, and this was the pandemic, and so there was like no music going on, and I got a call from Brown Bannister, who runs the commercial program at Lipscomb, and he was just like, I think you would really like coming here. And I was initially going to go to Berkeley in Boston and decided against that, and it just like was a weird timing thing where Brown was just like right there at that moment. And so I really moved out here to be in Nashville, but also go to college, which was great.
Okay. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, Grace.
Yeah. I started playing piano when I was like 7. Just started taking piano lessons from, we had a piano teacher lived in the neighborhood, and my 2 older sisters were taking piano. So I think it kind of started as that type of thing. Like I just wanted to like be cool like my older sisters, and just like really quickly like fell in love with it. Like my mom describes it like I was the kid who like the second I got off the bus, I wouldn't like run to go play outside. Like I ran and like played piano all day long. And so just got really into like just classical, like typical, you know, piano lessons type of stuff. And kind of started writing songs along the way. Like started writing songs when I was like 9, 10, like nothing, not good at all. But just started coming really naturally to me. And I was not a natural born singer at all. Like I very much had to will myself to sing. So my family definitely endured a lot of terrible singing. But yeah, the first time I ever played a song of mine live was my 4th grade talent show. I played an original song. And
is there a video of it?
I'm sure there is. I still know how it goes.
We're gonna find it and put it on here.
Yeah, we'll find the content somewhere. But yeah, so I just have really had like my sights set on being a songwriter mostly.
Yeah.
So I'm from Louisiana, so like the closest thing to me was Nashville. And when I was 15 or 16, I was in a program in my public school called Talented Music. That you like, you know, just test into. It gives you like an hour a day to participate in like music curriculum. And our band director came in that time that I was in Talented Music and was like, I have these people from this program, this organization that's called Ozone, and they need a high school songwriter to perform at this nonprofit event. And I was like in the room and I was like, I'll do it. And 2 days later, like my parents and I drove out. It's like the middle of nowhere and like having no idea where they're bringing their like 15-year-old daughter. And but it ended up being amazing. Ozone is like a program from where I'm at back home that is about supporting songwriting and music for public education, and just basically bringing also awareness to the lack of music education from where I'm from. And from that, I just like that got me in touch with my first Nashville songwriters. And I started traveling up here when I was about like 16, 17 to just write with anyone I could. Dip my toes into, you know, like the publishing, you know, whole deal, and learned about that and get my first taste of that. And it was really great. I split my time and kind of basically relocated by the time I was like 17. I like finished high school early. And along the way, met Brown Bannister. I ended up at Lipscomb as well in the songwriting department, and that's how Patrick and I met, and Amber and I met. But yeah, and then kind of through that process made the shift a little bit away from like the publishing house model into the artistry model, what we do today. So, yeah, quite an evolution.
Yeah, almost. It sounds like, I don't know, you sound like a very hard worker. Just like from the beginning, like you know what you want, you're gonna get what you want. Also, the fact that you're like, oh, I had to work to sing. I think your voice is really good. So good on you. Like it's paying off. It's paying off.
It was so terrible for so many years. Like that, and at the same time, I was learning how to like play clarinet and band for like a solid terrible. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine the combination of me trying to will myself to sing and hearing me play hot cross buns on clarinet.
But you know what?
So
still
props to my family, for real.
But still, props to you for
Thank
even
you.
when like maybe you weren't the best, and maybe there were people who said something. I don't know if there were.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, good for you for still doing it, and now you're here where you are, and
Yeah.
y'all are killing it.
Thank
which
you.
we'll get to. Okay,
Thank you.
Amber, best for last.
Yeah. So like Grayson and Riley, I started playing piano when I was really little. Kind of just my parents wanted me to do something creative and like figure out what I'm good at. So I started playing piano, very like classical, which I didn't love. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like playing by the book, but I'm like, okay, well, if I have to. And then I started harmonizing with my sister in 3rd grade. And that's when I was like, oh, wow, you can create really cool melodies and harmonies with other people. So we spent like a lot of our childhood harmonizing together and just listening to songs in the radio or like on CDs in our room, like The Lion King. That was our favorite one. So yeah, just like navigating singing and playing piano at the same time. And then I didn't start writing till maybe middle school.
Okay.
The first time I ever played an original song was at my grandma's funeral. And I was like, this is uncomfortable. But at the same time, like people are reacting to this and it's making me feel feelings that I've never felt before. And I was like, maybe I should go the creative route instead of like by the book. And then I went to the worship route and started playing worship in a worship band.
Okay.
Which was also a lot of improving, block chords, broken chords. And I was like, okay, so this isn't just like sheet music. So I really like the improv side of music.
Very cool.
And then I came to Lipscomb for music. So I was like, maybe I am good at this. Maybe I am good at this realm. So I went into worship and then I ended up changing my major to production. And then I changed my major again to songwriting because I'm like, I think I am good at this. I think hearing all the people tell me like, this is something you should be doing. Like it affirmed like where I was at and like how I could change other people.
Good for you. Also, can I ask like the song at your grandma's funeral? I feel like that's so much pressure for like a child. Like, okay, the first time I'm going to introduce one of my songs is at this like very significant event and that will forever affect my life. Yeah. Like, oh my goodness. So it's
intense.
Do you still have that song?
It's floating around somewhere. It was like after we went on a hot air balloon and I was taking in all the feels of being free and like in the sky and kind of relating that to death in life. But that was the first time.
How old were you?
I was in like 8th grade. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Still, that's some intense emotions.
But I was always afraid of performing in front of the people unless it was something that was my own that I created. That's when when I go on stage and I perform an original, I like lose all feeling of nerves. I mean, working up to it, I'm like, I'm so scared for this. But then sitting down and playing it, I like lose all that feeling.
That's really interesting. I feel like that's not always the case for everyone. So that's really cool. It almost shows like confidence in your own work. Like I know that I am the only one who can really do this the right way. Okay. So as far as y'all's band, when did y'all actually form as a band?
Yeah, I mean, so Grace and I started writing songs at the end of 2020 into 2021. And at the end of 2021 was kind of when the band formed and we had like played our first headlining show. And I think Grace and I both had an idea for it for so long. And so it really allowed us to put the right pieces in play really early on. And, we were really about the songs. We just wanted to make sure that we were writing songs that were good enough to start a project and not just to write songs just to write them and play them. And and so I think once we got to that point, which was I think by the end of 2021, I might be wrong, but it was around like March was kind of our first like bigger Nashville play for the first time. And that was kind of when things really started. And then the summer of 2022 was when we first kind of started going on the road. So we really didn't we've never really stayed local to Nashville like crazy. Okay. I mean, we play in Nashville more than any other city, but in a year at least. But I mean, it wasn't long until I think we were just like, let's just start going on the road and starting markets and playing house shows. And so, yeah, I mean, that was kind of the beginning of when it became serious. Yeah.
Okay. So did it start out as a duo? Or
Yeah.
Was it...
So
In a way, but it was always
Yeah.
planned to be a band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think like, so we met our freshman year. Actually, all of us were me, Amber, Patrick, were all in an ensemble together, which is like kind of like a part of our music program at Lipscomb. And like he said, it was like in the middle of the pandemic, no music happening. And I think we just like, we're like, let's just write. So we wrote one song and we're like, yeah, it's okay. And we wrote like a second song and like a third song. And then it was kind of like, oh, dang, like maybe we should actually be doing something with this instead of just getting together to write.
Yeah, the songs were so much better than what each of us individually were making. And, I think around that same time, we were just kind of like, I want to tour and play with my best friend, so we might as well do this. And
Yeah. So, I mean, we played probably our very, very first few sets were duo. And then Patrick brought Riley into the loop first. And we showed Riley our songs, which, like, looking back, we played him some really terrible songs. Like, I don't like songs that we haven't played in years. And we have it, like, on video, I'm pretty sure. And I look back on that, I'm like, oh God, why did Riley even want to like be a part of this? Like, for real. Anyways, we like just got together like in a rehearsal space at Lipscomb and like showed Riley and like he played on them and like we kind of just got like a thing going. And then we had that gig that Patrick was talking about in March. We got a last minute kind of show at the basement opening for the 502s. And it was like a few weeks before the show, their song like just a little while and a few other ones like they just went absolutely viral. And then it was like the show sold out. We were like, oh my God, we played like twice together. Like this is what are we gonna do?
And that was Amber's first
show with us.
That's so cool though.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Yeah. I have more questions about y'all performing with other bands. But that's a really cool like so how did it feel to be performing and I'm assuming like well yeah, you said it was a sold out show. So how did it feel to be performing like one of your first shows?
It was so like I had never been in that sphere before. Like I was playing writers rounds and writers rooms, some solo acoustic shows. So I was completely kind of unprepared in a way. I was like, this is wild. And I mean, it was like kind of what Amber had said, like you just do something for the first time and you're like, oh, like that's a crazy feeling. And then I kind of like, it kind of hooked me in a bit, I kind of, I got the bug after that a bit. But yeah.
It seems almost like everything has kind of played out in a certain way of where you're like, well, I was thinking about going here, but then I decided to go here and this is how and just the way that each of y'all, like, I feel like all four of y'all's stories has fallen to where it's like everything is perfectly fallen into place into this point where you have this big show to kind of start you off. And now it's like, okay, well, this was really cool. We should keep doing this and go on tour. And, that's a really cool story. Okay.
All the things that we thought were our biggest mistakes ended up being our greatest successes. And I think I think that's why our bond is so great, because we just ended up together. And and the gravity of life kind of brought us together, which is really amazing.
Oh, yes, you're such a songwriter. That's like so poetic.
I thought that was like very,
Someone said write that down.
I've been watching a lot of space movies, so gravity is a word that's just being thrown around all the time.
I was watching Interstellar on loop.
Right.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, well, since we're talking kind of about going on tour and everything, can you guys talk? So you went on a summer tour last year. Was that your first like tour? It
was like our second like actual tour that was put together.
Okay.
Riley, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. It was the longest like series of road shows that we had done, which was really exciting. The year before we had done like a series of house shows and there were a couple of clubs that were in that one, but and that was really unique too because we got to meet some really cool people that reached out, and those were connections that we were able to make use of and continue to grow those relationships in that second tour, which was longer and it was the amount of things that went wrong on the second tour.
There were things.
It taught us so much more than the first one did. I think the first one was shorter and like the stakes were much lower. And but we were so excited, and it was great. And then we went out on that second one, and
Everything went wrong. That could have gone wrong.
yeah, things that
You can't even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it started off with losing Grace's suitcase.
Okay.
Which
Immediately.
was like we were 5 minutes away from her house, but we didn't realize that until we stopped for gas at the hotel in Lexington.
Yeah, we were 4 hours away. Somehow my bag, our van has like double doors that open in the back, and we were packed to the brim, like could not fit a singular other thing. And I was like the last person loading my luggage, and it got put in the back right against the door, and we hit a big bump on the way to the gas station that's like 2 minutes from my street. And that we got to the gas station, the doors were flung open. And so everyone got out and did like an inventory check, but I don't think anyone knew that my suitcase had ended up back there because it was like shoved in kind of last minute. So we're like, this is great. Somehow we didn't lose anything at all. And we drove the 4.5 hours to Lexington, Kentucky, like need to go play the show like in 30 minutes. And we're like unloading our suitcases to go in the hotel room. Like, I can't wait for another like 17 days on the road with you guys. This is awesome. And my suitcase is gone, not to be found. And we sent out like some of my lovely friends back here in Nashville, went on like a search crew and was never found to this day.
What?
It's a mystery. No one ever found. I mean,
goodness.
I sadly have to conclude someone probably maybe picked it up. It was like packed with the brim with stuff. So maybe someone was my size. I had jackpot. Someone's walking around with all your clothes on. Yeah.
I was about to say we're gonna send out a PSA. What did the suitcase look like?
It is rose gold.
Rose gold.
It has my contact information on it.
Okay.
So
say your address. No, I'm kidding. PSA.
I'm too trusting. I'm like, you can contact me here. The pin on my credit card is.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Okay, well that's an interesting start.
Yeah.
To a tour. Okay, but as far as can I ask you guys seem very close just in the short interaction that I have, which I mean you kind of have to, I guess, right, to be in a band. Okay. But can I ask kind of what that was like being so close for that long of time and being stuck in a van and everything?
I'm gonna let Amber take this one.
I don't know. Van time is me time, so I kind of block everyone out and put my headphones on. Just giving everyone space to be themselves in the van, and then when we get out of the van, we can all be cordial, and be friends. But no, it's fun being on the road with them. It's normal. Like the first time we went on tour, there was some ups and downs because I was like, I don't know, I don't have anything to compare this to.
Yeah.
But then the second run, I was like, okay, I know how this goes. We know how to exist all together in the van and outside of the van. Yeah. But no, it's fun because they're like my best friends. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I mean, like touring is extremely difficult just in general. I mean,
right.
it's not always the most fun, and like we're in a relationship, and Riley's my best friend and Amber's Grace's best friend. So it's like we're very tied together, and I think it makes it really easy for us to get under each other's skin as close as we are, and as much as we love each other, that can happen really quickly. And I think right now at the stage we're at, we're just learning how to manage that in a better way. But it's also the most fun that you have, and it's like the 4 hours that you spend in the van are worth it. If you can have 30 or 45 minutes or an hour to play to people who are there to see you and care about what you're doing, and it gets easier over time. It just like at the stage we're at right now, it's like it's rough.
It's multiple people, one hotel room.
Yeah.
One hotel bathroom. One passenger van. So like everything is like there's one of the thing and like four of us. Yeah. But I think it's a blast for the most part. Yeah. I jokingly gave Amber the mic for that question because Amber has like this magical ability. Like the second we get in the van, she falls asleep. Like she sleeps for hours on end in the van, and I personally can't. Yeah, good. I cannot do that. So her comment about that's her me time. It's very funny. It's very true.
Yeah. I saw Dan Auden over there. He's so like he sits still just for too long and he falls asleep. Well, that's very special that you guys though are like close enough to be able to go on tour, and that you've done 2 already. And really, I mean, 2021 is not that long ago. So in such a short time for you guys to have the ability to do that, and the means to do that is really special. When you guys go on tour, is it typically like, did you guys do any solo shows, or were most of them with other bands?
This year is mostly so there's house shows that we play that are just us, and that's kind of like a really special thing for us. It's like really it is one of our favorite things to do. We don't say that in a cliche way. And then there's some playing with other bands, but we haven't toured or supported a ton of different bands on full tours yet, which is something that we're like really, really excited to do. But yeah, it's a real mix of things. Like when we're in New Orleans or in Denver, like we typically play with other bands because we're playing in clubs in those 2 cities because we sell, decent amount of tickets in those places. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's really awesome to meet other bands because even if we don't go on tour, and like play with other bands, like we have a ton of one-off shows that we play throughout the year. And, and that's typically when we're supporting other bands. And it really is one of the best parts about doing this, just meeting other musicians and that communal aspect of knowing kind of what we're all experiencing together is really wonderful.
100%. One of my favorite parts about this job is just the networking that we get to do and meeting all these local bands and like just learning a bunch of new music or getting to hear a bunch of new music that you're like, oh, y'all can make it. Like y'all are really good. So that's really special. So as far as the like house shows go, do you guys have you guys experienced like any sort of like fan experience where someone's like, oh my goodness, like I listen to you guys all the time and stuff? Like what is that like?
The house shows I think are so cool because it's like really the quickest way to build I guess you could, use the word fan or just a connection with the people who get what you're trying to do, Right. So there's like an awesome family in Iowa who like the first time we went on the road, like they got their entire like community and neighborhood together to host us for a house show. And then like we went back this year and like we played their Christmas party and like there's a lovely group of like just people and students kind of in, the Lexington area who like have had us like twice already and like kind of do like a tailgate thing. And it's, it's just, you make a lot of personal connection and there's so much time to like really get to know the people, to really talk to the people. And there's also, like, there's not this, I mean, maybe there is sometimes like a stage, but there's not like the stage thing. Like we are here to participate in something together.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
Really.
And so through house shows, like there's been a lot of just really great personal bonds we've made with people. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but y'all are, I don't know, y'all are very inspired. I feel inspired by every one of our guests, but especially right now, just the way that you guys, I feel like you guys are truly living out. I'm assuming y'all are all in your like early to mid 20s. Yeah, like I feel like you guys are really taking that experience, making the memories, and like just spending time with your best friends. So that's really special, and I'm glad you guys get to do that.
Thank you.
Okay,
so much.
We'll be right back.
Have you been enjoying Successfully Unsigned? Then check out all of our other content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and everywhere you can stream podcasts. Don't forget about our exclusive artist interviews and performances right here with Successfully Unsigned. Join us and like, comment, follow, subscribe, share with all of your friends, and tell us what your thoughts are about being an artist in the music industry.
All right, y'all, welcome back. We had our lovey-dovey friend session, but then I want to talk a little bit more about touring. So I saw in y'all's bio, or it was something Robin sent me. I don't even know, actually.
Manager stuff.
But okay, so you mentioned the 502s, and I saw Magic Giant, the Arcadian Wild. And so have you guys just performed, like opened for these bands, or is it, you said you haven't toured with any bands, correct?
Not with those ones for long periods of time.
Okay.
No. I mean, those experiences have just been amazing. Like our first time playing in Cincinnati, I think, was with Magic Giant, and such a cool show. Like I've known about their band for such a long time, and they were so nice. And the Arcadian Wild are they're guys who are on our label now, which is crazy to say, and they're just so awesome. Like they're also Lipscomb grads, and so that was kind of how we all got connected, and we were a part of like a really special night for them when they were first rolling out their last record, and it, you know, it's just like for us to open these shows is such a big deal because they're letting us be a part of their world and their artistry, and we literally are so honored because they're some of our favorite bands. And so it's really
well. I also
really
saw on that list the Vista Kicks, and I was like,
yeah,
I love the Vista Kicks.
they're cool.
My friend showed them to me in high school, and that was back in like 2015.
Yeah,
and so I finally got to see them in 2022 when they were here in Nashville at the Basement East.
Cool.
And so I was just like, oh my goodness, that's like a band I know. That's really cool that you guys have performed with them.
Yeah.
So I love them and their music.
Yeah, they're super cool. They're really cool guys.
I think we played with them the first time we ever played in Indianapolis.
That was second time.
Oh yeah, first or second time, which Indianapolis like rocks. We play there a lot. Really cool.
Yeah.
How do y'all like find what places you're gonna do? Like, is that Robin's job?
No, it's mostly my job. I mean, it's a lot of like mid-sized small clubs, and it's just inquiring.
You just reach out
bands that we're somewhat of a fit with, and so that's just kind of the plain and simple on that.
Okay, so if you were to do like a full-fledged tour for an artist or a band, I'm gonna ask who would be y'all's top choice as a band if you have one. If not, but I also want to hear y'all's like individual choices as well.
I think ours as a band would like, it sounds outrageous, but like the head and the heart. I mean, it's really like what we've always kind of gone after, and they like sum up the inspiration of our band from day one till now. You know, it's never really changed. Them, and Of Monsters and Men is another one. Just a huge deal for us, you know, growing as a band. They were and continue to be a huge influence on us. And I mean, hopefully that day happens. It's a little absurd to think that it would, but
never say never.
Yeah, but they're awesome. That would be my pick.
Okay. I guess we'll just go back down the line again.
Hey, I mean, like, Grace, if you have one, then I would go.
No, Riley,
I have a different individual one too.
Let Riley shine. Let Riley shine.
Well, I'm just there's a couple, I guess.
You can say more than one. We won't penalize you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of bands that like, whether it would be a stylistic fit,
and you know what? That's okay.
Like, you know, it would be awesome to open for like the National, or open for the War on Drugs, or like Lord Huron would be. That would be a if I did that, if I was a part of a band that got to open for a band like that. Okay, I'm good. I think I can hang everything up and do something else now. Like, that's pretty crazy. So
yeah,
the Ava Brothers are the whole reason I play music, so that would be my pick.
Mine would not fit our band at all, but I'm gonna say Nora Jones was like my really early inspiration. Nora Jones,
so good.
Yeah, and I love Holly Humberstone. I think she's absolutely just like so amazing. So, like I said, doesn't fit our band, but that'd be really cool.
Okay.
I don't know. I have two bands in mind, but not because of vibe wise, but just because I really like them and I want to be their friends. But the first one is Lighthearted Band. I went and saw them live, and the second one is Oh Jeremiah, which is funny because both are like smaller growing bands, but they're in the Athens area and the Nashville area. So I'm like, and they've run into them a few times. So it's just like knowing that the circle is like that is so weird. 'Cause I'm like, there is a chance that I will be able to meet them one day.
Yeah, that's the thing, is there's so many other regional acts and guys, you know, that are a little bit bigger than us or whatever, that are like awesome bands that we love to play with. I mean, they're really doing a great job right now. But Happy Landing is a Nashville band, and I try and give them a plug every time we can. They're just like the best people, and just so fun to play with. And honestly, it was such a bucket list just to play with them a couple months ago. And so yeah,
I don't really have anything to compare it to, but what I've heard and just at least what I've noticed, I feel like the Nashville music community, no matter what genre you're in, is just something really special. Like everyone is here to support each other, whether you've been playing for 6 months or 10 years. And it's really cool to like just see all this networking and then like seeing, oh, my friend is actually a fan of this person as well. And like just all the different connections you can make. So it's really cool that you guys are being able to do that and hopefully one day being able to perform with the people that you're fans of.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that y'all were signed, which I actually did not know this. So I think you guys might be our first signed artist. Have we had any other signed artists on here? No? Okay, so congratulations. You broke the successfully unsigned sign rule.
Partially signed.
Okay.
We're signed with
a label services.
Yeah.
Okay.
And distribution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Called Veer Music.
Yeah,
and
they're
under
great.
Warner. And it's Rusty Harmon and Paige Hyman, I think is how you say her last name. I probably
Amazing
screwed that up.
person, and I still to this day can't pronounce her last name.
But man, they're just
great,
they're just the best team. They've helped us develop in such a new and different way than we thought we would, and they've really worked so hard for us, and we just really hope to do the same thing for them. But it's been a wonderful situation with them.
Well, it's really cool that you guys like, I don't know, I feel like you guys are so far ahead of the game for being such a young band. Like you've only been around for a few years and you're already making those moves and you're like, we need a tour, so let's tour. And meanwhile, you see a lot of other bands who maybe don't have quite the same drive. And so it's really good, especially with 4 people. Like it's hard to get all 4 people on the same page,
Right.
Especially that quickly.
Yeah.
So it's really special. Also, I just noticed the tinsel in your hair. I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
I
that's a
installed
tour
that.
story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Okay. This summer, with that lovely family in Iowa that was referencing, we went back and did another show with them. They have like the sweetest, like 2 younger daughters and 3. Oh my gosh. Edit that out. Cut that out. No, I'm kidding.
Shout out to the Bratneys in West Des Moines, Iowa.
Yes. Okay. Your 3 lovely daughters. I said 2 because 2 of them put the tinsel and amber in our hair. Okay.
Yeah, save yourself.
Yes. But
know, right?
we stayed with them, and me and Amber like hung out with their 2 older daughters and watched Dance Moms and like drank hot chocolate, and they put tinsel in our hair. And it was like the best night of tour. Like it was so luxury. Like after being on the road, like it was luxury, genuinely.
And you
so,
know what?
became a thing. I bought Amber a bunch of hair tinsel now, and now I put in her hair tinsel.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm starting.
If the band thing doesn't work out, we got
you got the tinsel hair business.
I'm so bad at putting it in.
It's okay. I mean, it looks good from here. You're sparkling.
Thank you. I'm probably like when she probably goes to take it out, all her hair is. I'm kidding.
places all my hair with hair tinsel.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
but
that
it's
would give you a signature look for the band. So
God.
it's so hard to put in. But the first time I tried to do it, I was like, you know, they were able to do it, and they did it so quick, and it was awesome. It took me like hour and a half to figure out how to get the hair tinsel in.
yeah.
Yeah, they were on a whole nother level, and I had no idea how talented they were when they put the hair tinsel in.
Also, I love that you said your best night of tour involved Dance Moms.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
100%.
So I'm actually from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
This has not become a Dance Moms podcast, even though I could talk about it for 8 hours.
Yes.
I've been rewatching it, so I'm just like,
I have too.
I heard she got
Somebody's
arrested.
twins.
She did.
Oh yeah, she's
Out
arrested. She
now?
was
Oh, yeah,
arrested
she's a
while she was
mess.
on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, not. Yeah, it's a long story. Anyway, like I said, I could talk about it for hours, but I'm from Pittsburgh and like. Anyway, we can talk about it after.
Yes.
Talk about Pittsburgh.
We'll
we can talk about
start a
Dance
Dance
Moms.
Moms podcast.
Oh yeah,
that sounds
it.
good.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you guys just released last month your song "Holy Water." Congratulations!
Thank you.
How's it been doing? Like, have you guys been getting good responses on it and everything?
Yeah.
You want if you can back to you?
You got it.
Okay, I'll briefly, and we'll pass it around, get everyone's input on it.
I don't care.
I'm trying to keep the talking ground equal. I want
Neutral.
everyone's voice to be elevated. Anyways, yes, we put out Holy Water, which we had not put out music in a hot minute. So it was, really exciting, a little intimidating, but I'm, very, very happy it's out in the world. I love Holy Water so much because I think, and this is with any music, not every single song you hear is going to be your cup of tea. But I think for the people who it is their cup of tea, it can provide something extremely comforting for them. And that was kind of, my whole intention with that song since we wrote it. And so I've had a lot of people reach out to me and just, explain that there's like just something very healing that song has provided for them. And that is like all I could ask for from releasing a song.
I mean, like, that's like, I feel like the highest compliment you get from someone for about a song.
Absolutely. And
so you described it as finding beauty within brokenness. I was like, dang, I need that right now. So I really appreciate the song as well.
Thank you.
So I was stalking y'all's Instagram and I saw you talked a little bit about the song and kind of how it came to be. So elaborate for those of us who have not seen it.
Sure.
And then I kind of want you to talk about like your songwriting process, whether it's individually or all four of y'all, and kind of how it has changed throughout the years.
Yeah.
Started.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Grace had drawn up some lyrics for Holy Water and the basic idea of it. And with that song, we had the slow parts, all the verses done with the lyrics, but there was the chorus parts and like the time changes and stuff that kind of happen. And that was my doing. And that was just random. And then it's weird with Holy Water because that ended up becoming kind of how we have shifted our songwriting a little bit. Whereas Grace and I write the songs, but Amber and Riley are the tail end pieces of it that are how we shape it before we go into the studio. So, I mean, with that song, once we had all the pieces together, it was kind of mixed up. And I mean, Riley and I sat in our garage and went over it, I mean, for maybe 2 hours and just like continuously tried new things. And Riley is like so talented at bringing new ideas to life that are, in these songs that I would have never thought of, or Grace. And so that's kind of, become our process is, Grace and I will write the songs and then we'll form some version of it to try and play it live a little bit. And then when the time comes months later, we take it to the studio and then there's then another refined version of it that happens there.
Very cool.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely different elements of it. And, each song is different. And, you were saying this about bands where it's like, we've had a really, quick experience with getting to the place that we are gratefully. And, like every band's journey is so different. And I mean, like, it's the same thing with songs. I mean, every song is really different. I mean, like some of them, one song we play, I wrote in like 2020. I mean, like there's songs that Grace had written a long time ago that we play. I mean, so it kind of is all across the board.
Okay.
Holy Water was
really cool.
Unique too because with the the shift and the evolution that he's going to talk about with the songwriting process, Holy Water was one of the first songs that I wrote a batch of it and then brought it to Patrick. Like, I mean, for our first 3 years of writing together, it was pretty much like
scratch.
It was pretty much, like if we're not actively in a room together, then like that was kind of like almost like our rule or like our vibe was that like we came in completely blank, no ideas every single time.
That was one of the biggest mistakes we made. I mean, it limited us creatively so much.
For a while though, it had a weird mojo about it, and then we got to the point where we evolved and we had to shift gears a little bit, and
because I mean, like the other part of it too is like we are different songwriters.
Very different.
And our process is completely different from each other. I mean, like Grace is very much like sit down and write a song, in one sitting, whereas like there are songs that I've written where it's taken 4 years.
I've never done that.
And so there's like this weird balance for us where it's like, how do we balance the two huge different parts of us as songwriters and bring it together? And like I think one of the coolest parts about doing this is we're always going to be refining that, and like there's always going to be a difference. And it's like I look back on, you know, like our creative role that we used to have, and it's like, why did we do that?
Work
and
anymore,
now,
yeah.
and now, and then, you know, a couple of years from now or whatever, I'll probably look back on what we do now and be like, oh, why did we do it like that? But you know, we just like,
Yeah.
It's an energy thing, you know, it's a vibe. I mean, like, it's such a cliche thing to say, but I mean, it really, like, the songwriting process, it really is all about the vibe. And I mean, Grace and I will sit and argue over the smallest little things, but it's weirdly like kind of part of the vibe of us writing songs, you know, is like really arguing for what we want with the song.
Right.
And like, we end up always, you know, coming to an agreement, and you know, it's like typically it's one of us stepping back and being like, "Why always do what you did?"
Yeah,
like,
I'll trust your intuition on that.
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
It's really which one of us breaks first, but
Good.
but yeah, man.
Very cool. Very cool. So, do you guys want to talk at all about like your first EP or
Sure.
your other single?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first EP was back when Grace and I were just
us
her
two.
and I
Okay.
doing it, and
Okay.
it was, like I said, we had the idea of being in having it be a band, but I mean, we did it with our friend Daniel Nelson out in Chattanooga. He's got a band called Walter Slide that we're all big fans of, and great producer. He had this studio for a long time above this old Hispanic church, and
Such a cool space.
and it was just amazing. Like, you just go upstairs, and it was like this New York City loft kind of area, and I mean, it was like the vibe thing was always there when we were making music there, as you know, same with the studio that we record in now, and it was such a great process, you know, because it was right when Grace and I started doing this. I mean,
Daniel was really
developed us a lot.
He was the first person who really was like, we can do something with this, you know. And that was really cool. And that's really like how I would sum up that first EP, was like
trying new things.
Yeah, it was the first time Patrick and I had gone in the studio together. And so honestly, it was like what can we do with these songs that we have written, you know, acoustically. And
because prior to going into that, we would be like, oh, well, we're a folk band, but it's like, we don't know that we're a folk band until we probably record a few songs and figure out if that's actually, you know, we could have taken it, you know, a different way if the songs had called for that, but you know, it just ended up being kind of what the inspiration always was from the start.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I was even gonna say, like, y'all's sound is very just professional sounding.
Thank you.
And so shout out to whoever works on your music.
Yeah. That's not our own doing, but Zach Green and Lewis Johnson and Daniel.
Yeah, they produced Holy Water, and then Daniel produced our first EP.
Yeah.
And then our single in there, our little Lonesome Just For You, was self-produced.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I mean, it sounded really good as well.
Thank
so
you.
good on y'all.
That was the engineer. So
Oh, yeah. Let me say, not
the engineer
self-engineered.
saved our ass that time.
Simply creatively self-produced.
Jeremy.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can y'all talk at all about your new music?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we had to say hush hush about that. So
Riley, you want to go?
Yeah, we have a couple more tunes coming out that I mean, we've been working on the stuff that's coming out. Holy Water that just came out, and then the next 3 that are going to start rolling out in the next couple of months. When we kind of started the process of these new songs, that was back in March of last year. So it's been a long time, and a lot of space with each one of the songs, and a lot of a lot of growth, I think, just from each person's end. From my part, you know, going into a studio, working with the people we worked with, learning how to throw some stuff at the wall for several hours at a time.
Yeah.
Some things that, you know, I felt really passionate about, some things that you know, Grace felt really passionate about, only to come out at the end of the day and it's like, yeah, that just doesn't really work here though. Like, that's not right. And allowing that process to happen sometimes in a day and sometimes over the course of 2 months, you know, sitting with a song. And Holy Water was a fun one to get through and to spend time with, and on and on. And that one, you know, they're all special in their own way. I think that they all represent a different idea from your guys' perspective lyrically. And I think sonically, you know, the production, the engineering, and the musically, the instrumental parts that are on it, just the process was very new. And the creative process was super, I don't know, I mean, it was instructional, you know?
Okay.
I felt like I learned and matured as a musician by just watching the process happen. And then when I was in the hot seat, you know, playing something on the track, it was like, okay, I think I know kind of what to do now because I've been watching some pros at work, as it were. And, I mean, I don't know. Do you have any because I had an instrumental perspective from it.
Yeah, I mean,
songwriting. I know that the writing process was, you know, challenging for you guys too. You learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I needed to learn how to really step back and just trust our guys, you know, that are really talented at what they do. That's one of the best things that I've learned so far. You know, it's really difficult, you know, and I think a lot of people sympathize with this who make music, you know, even Riley and Amber, you know, in instrumental positions or, you know, with their own work as well. It's really hard to like let go of the reins a little bit of the work that you've had. And I had to learn how to do that in a way that was unemotional towards the work in a lot of ways in order to bring the best out of it from my end. So yeah, but I mean, we're so proud of what we made, you know, and we're so excited for people to hear it and connect with it. And that's really, you know, at this point for us, we love playing the songs live and, you know, but they're everyone else's songs now, you know, and that's kind of what they've always meant to be.
Right.
You know, we're not really on our own accord anymore with these songs, and we've had the relationship with them. And I think that'll change, you know, over time, and like every song's, you know, the relationship with those songs changes. I feel like every night that we play them, you know, I don't think we've ever played the same song the same way more than once.
That's really cool.
So
that's really cool.
It's pretty fun, and it keeps it really interesting for us. Amber, what was your perspective on, I mean, our record? Because you were like, you were like the gold that was like the final sheen on everything.
Yeah.
Like,
the tinsel.
yes, yeah, literally.
On top of the head. No, I think bouncing off of what they said, like the studio experience, I didn't have anything to compare it to really, because I'm like, I've never worked with these people before.
Yeah.
I've never gone in just to do this one thing and then leave. But it's a lot of posturing yourself to be in an open headspace, I guess. Like open-minded about being creative instead of, I'm going to go and do this the exact same way that we perform it live. Because it's all about reimagining it. And it's going to sound different than how it's live. But that's the whole point, is like creating this space for it to sound really cool when you're listening to it on the radio or like on Spotify versus when you get the live experience.
Right. Right. So the singles that you guys have coming out, will those be a part of the second EP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all coming together.
Gotcha.
And it'll be released in May. I mean, it's not a secret at this point. So
okay, good. Very exciting.
At the end of May, there will be 4 new tracks out, and you know, we're already starting to talk about getting into the studio again to start doing the third one. So,
I mean, as a band, like that's kind of where it is. Like, oh my gosh, we finally made it. Yeah. Now let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like, you got to keep it going. So
you like revel in it for like half a week, and you're like, okay.
yeah, I think it's like that it's like the release day. You're like, wow, we went out and celebrated last night, and then you wake up on the release day and you're like, well, we kind of celebrated last night, and you're like, oh, this is fine. Like,
day after release day. I guess you can go book more studio time.
Yeah, we're gonna book some shows to promote this.
But good for y'all for doing that, because you gotta. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the business. It's part of the business. Like, you can't just stop. So
yeah,
I think we're learning how to appreciate the moments.
Yeah, that's good.
And,
that's good.
You know, in the right amount of time that you know. Like, we're not living in one world for too long, but appreciating it while we're in it. And that's a good feeling, you know, because I think it's really easy with this job is always looking for the next thing. And it's like, man, if we could look back 2 years ago and, see this, it would just be
Yeah.
mind blowing for us.
Yeah,
So-
you guys have like a really good head on your shoulders as a collective band head
Thanks.
on your
Thank you.
shoulders.
Some of us are individually do not have such a good head on their shoulders.
Oh.
Him talking about himself.
Yeah, this is me that I'm referring
This is
to.
self-deprecation.
we
This
didn't
isn't
even
not
talk
him
about-
spilling tea. This is
Yeah, we didn't even talk about what Riley and I did in Des Moines while the tinsel was going on,
Oh,
which
God.
we're not
Oh,
going to. But, Robin's over there shaking her head. But yeah,
Hey, you gotta.
but
have
thank
a
you
little
for saying
debauchery
that
at the
to make me feel better. I appreciate it.
end. Okay, we're gonna take one more break and then we're gonna come back for show and yell. Which yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
What's going on, guys? It's David here from Successfully Unsigned. We're having a ton of fun. Real quick, I just want to thank everybody for the support that you guys have given us over the past year. We've had a blast. We would love for you to see more of our content. To do that, you can definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Another way you can support us is by following the link in the description to donate to the podcast. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back, y'all. Successfully Unsigned. DJ Patty G over here. Okay, so we're gonna do show and yell, which I explained to y'all what it was. So, how do you all do it in whatever order you want? You can go backward. Yeah. Sure. Okay.
I'm good over here.
Okay. Koi fish.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Thank you. Wait, I don't explain it, right? I just.
Yes, you do explain.
I do
it.
explain it.
Oh,
Okay,
unless you
okay.
don't. I mean, if it's like really personal, I guess you don't have to.
Oh no,
It's all about the
Just
imagination.
a koi. No. This is a little ceramic koi fish, and it's hand painted. I got it back at home in Arizona, and it just sits in my backpack. It's like my little lucky koi fish that reminds me that I'm okay. It's like a rabbit foot, but
That's
it's my
so
lucky koi
sweet.
fish.
I like that better than rabbit foot. It's not as creepy.
Yeah, it's not as creepy. And I picked this one out because it has a little freckle on its forehead, like me.
Aw.
So I'm like, it's little me in my backpack.
That's so sweet. I love that. Okay.
I don't know how to explain mine. This is motivator for second grade. This is a framed letter that I wrote in second grade, and the explanation is I'm just gonna read what I wrote in second grade.
Okay.
It says, "This is motivator for second grade," misspelled 4 times, including the word guard. That never look back and always look forward. Evan, if ardent looking good, just keep push thing on and try to find a good side of things. And this is like, it's very funny, but it's also very sentimental to me because it's like, I had motivator from second grade, and now it's like I should have motivator now. So,
Yes. And
is
that's
my
why y'all
motivator.
keep pushing. Y'all keep
yes,
pushing 'cause of that.
when things aren't going great, I think of my motivator. So
That's like a movie piece right there.
yeah, like I was real dramatic from early on. If you couldn't tell,
you know what? Same here. Same
yeah,
here.
yeah, all good.
All right, Patrick.
Tambourine.
Old.
Wait, you gotta yell. You gotta yell.
Half a tambourine. So this is the tambourine that I didn't know how to play guitar when I played my first show. Or no, I did, but I didn't have a plug for it, like
Okay.
a pickup in it. So I didn't play guitar, and the other guy that was in the band did. This was like the first show that I ever did. It was just like a duo set of like Lumineers and Mumford & Sons songs, and I just had this, and it was so loud, so I taped all of the bells down to make it a little bit more quiet. But it was literally the first time I ever sang in front of anyone, so it was like kind of crazy. And then later on, it ended up with Riley, and like right around when Riley like started implementing tambourine in our music, and it's just been around ever since. And we found it in Riley's truck not too long ago.
Wait, wasn't that sitting in Riley's truck for like several years?
Yeah.
I had several pieces of old memorabilia.
There's a hat. There's
There's a
and a
fedora.
car that I did not have when we were in that band, which is very
no. But yeah, this is just a weirdly it just symbolizes like how far, everything has really come in the last 10 years. So really cool.
Okay.
All right. This is For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway.
You gotta yell it. You gotta yell it. You gotta yell it.
For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Okay.
It's just I have a couple different copies of it, and this one, I mean, for obvious reasons, is just very cool looking. It's from 1942, and it's my favorite book, and that's really the only reason why I brought it. I think it's a cool looking book, this specific copy. But I mean, I could talk about it for hours and hours, but I'm sure we don't have that much time. So
it's okay. You can.
This is his Dance Moms.
Yes, your podcast about that. We'll have podcasts about Dance Moms. We're just gonna start a bunch of new podcasts.
That sounds good.
Okay, so I completely forgot a question that I meant to ask. Can I ask the name of y'all or the significance behind the name, if there is one?
There isn't.
I'm like,
The end. We're done.
When I was working at a record store in Franklin called Carpe Diem, I was locked out and walking around in in a very weird British accent saying, "Hello, darling." And I said it 45 different times while I'm just pacing around the building waiting for my boss to get there. And so I text Grace and I was like, "What about Hello, Darling for a band name?" Because we had were trying to figure that out at the time.
our EP was about
Due
to come
in,
out.
Months. Yeah, or 3 months.
And we had tried for months to come up with a band name. I mean, oh my gosh, we went through some terrible names. There was we kept for a while trying this the word highway. It was real bad.
A little more country. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it was not good. So I think I was sitting in Starbucks on campus, and he was texting me. He was like, "What about Hello, Darling?" I was like, "Sounds great."
Hello, darling.
Sounds great.
I was thinking Hello, Dolly, but close enough.
Yeah, that was one of the early mix-ups, especially with our fans that are a little bit older, and then
people. It took oh my gosh, with that demographic, it took a long time for them to decipher that we were not Hello Dolly,
or it didn't have Conway Twitty reference. That was the other hard-hitting question.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's it. I mean, I always said, if you could hear David Letterman or a late night talk show host introducing it, while they're playing.
Gosh, Dick.
Yeah. Then it probably sounds good. So that was kind of what we went through.
I think it's a good band name, but I was let me just ask. I always try and ask with band names because they interest me so much. So and sometimes you get I don't know, we had a list of names and this is the one we picked, and then other times they're well, my third cousin's dog did whatever.
Some people got some really deep stories, and you're wow.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
But y'all got
I'm
deep
I don't know. I'm
stories, so.
sitting in Starbucks, and he texted me, and I was like,
Hey, I mean, our podcast name, I feel just kind of came up.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up, unless y'all have other stories that you wanted to bring up. Nope. Okay.
Probably best we don't.
Promote performance dates, anything else. March 8th, well, it'll be out. So what's the song? On and On?
On and On.
On and On is out now. Go listen to it everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, I don't know, wherever else it is.
We'll be up through
performance dates.
We'll be up through the East Coast in March, DC and New York, and then once the EP comes out, we'll be pretty much going back through the Midwest again and back up through the East Coast again. Those are kind of our markets right now. So we're excited.
If you live in Memphis.
We're not playing in Memphis. We're playing in
when were we playing?
Kansas City.
Okay, if you live in Kansas City or St. Louis on April 8th
and 9th.
And 9th, we'll be playing there. A one-off duo show, Patrick and I.
Ooh, okay.
And then like Patrick said, after March, we're kind of going to regroup, and we're going to be in a lot of different cities, hopefully, this summer. So
very exciting, very exciting. Do y'all have any personal projects that you guys work on yourselves that you want to plug real quick?
Yeah.
Amber, go.
I didn't know this was going to be a plug thing. I'm Amber Sawyer, and I'm on all streaming platforms.
Ooh.
Woo! Okay, go follow Amber Sawyer.
Yes.
Amber
Okay.
Sawyer, SAWYER, like Tom Sawyer.
Okay.
Thomas.
Any other personal projects? Anyone?
Kylie.
No.
I'm writing
Okay.
and guiding.
And what is y'all's band plug on social media and stuff?
Oh,
Yeah.
Hello Darling Band on all platforms pretty much of social media, and then Hello Darling on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. I guess those are two different things now. And always have been. And then
Yep.
Tidal
Yep.
and SoundCloud and
Anywhere you listen to music, you can listen to us.
Deezer, Pandora, Prime.
All of them.
Well, thank you guys
yeah.
so much for coming on today. You guys have been
Thank
a
you.
really fun bunch. You guys are gonna go far. Just how hard you guys
You're
work
gonna go
and how
far.
talented you are. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you can also follow us at Successfully Unsigned everywhere. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. That's our big one. I should probably mention that one. So go follow us, go follow Hello Darling, and go listen to their music. Thank you guys so much, and we'll be back next week, hopefully.
Might not be there.
You never know.